today, so that'll cut down some of the background noise. We have a lot of people eating here in Little Rock, so hopefully that won't disturb anybody too much. Everybody looks pretty happy and smiling, so must be good. If you have any questions, you can enter that in the question box, and we'll try to address it throughout the webinar, or we'll do it at the end. And then after the webinar, we'll be sending out a post-webinar survey. So if you could, please complete that. It will come in the email tomorrow. Please help us with any future ideas you might have for events coming up. And at the end, we'll give you a list of what's coming up in the next couple weeks. So to get things started, a lot of you guys have invested a significant amount of money in Dynamics GP or NAV or CRM or the other Dynamics products that you're using. So we want to help you guys make sure you get the best or most out of it. With your annual enhancement plan, you get a lot of different services that Microsoft provides in that, and so we're going to make you aware of everything that you get, and there includes some free support, lots of online training, and so we'll discuss all that. And next, I'm going to show you the agenda here. Just real quick, we'll talk about the enhancements, how that's calculated, how to get into Custom Source. This is where you can get all that information that I was telling you about as far as training, support, enhancement upgrades, all your registration keys. You can also set new people up in there, with which we can help you do that also. And then we'll also talk about Interdyne BMI support team and how their process works and how everything flows through the channels up there when you submit a support request. And here's a list of our account managers. I know you guys deal with, everybody in the room here deals with me. I've dealt with some of the people on the phone from time to time, but we have Davey, she's out of Orlando, Florida. And then we have Kevin, he's out of Minneapolis, Minnesota, where our home office is for anyone here that's unaware of that. And then Brendan Link, he's out of Fargo, North Dakota. And then we have Nick Witter out of Houston, and then me out of Little Rock here. And now I'm going to turn it over to Davey, and she's going to talk about the enhancement plan.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Davey Mahavir, and I'm out of the Orlando, Florida office with bright and sunny weather, and I'm the account manager for most of our Florida clients. Thank you for taking the time this afternoon. We wanted to go over a few basic things that some of our clients just are not even familiar that they have access to, and also just to talk about how your review and your investment into Microsoft is calculated. So we're going to talk about annual enhancement. Also, sometimes we call it the maintenance renewal. So what exactly is an annual enhancement? The way we determine what your annual enhancement is a simple formula. We take your calculated based on your system list price times the selected service plan that you pick. So let me break that down to you a little bit more. When you first bought your Dynamics Investment ERP solution, you sat down with someone and picked the modules or the type of plans that you thought would best fit your need. And from that, it had an associated cost to that. We then sat down with you and went over different types of plan that are based on different percentage. At that time, you picked which one you thought would best serve your company. That is the magic formula that we use to send you an annual enhancement every year. Some of those service plans are here. You have what's called a Business Ready Enhancement Plan, and that's the first column that we're looking at. And that's a plan that we use 16% to calculate every year if you picked that plan. The next plan that we have is called a Business Ready Advantage Plan, and it is calculated at 18%. The last option that you can choose from is called Business Ready Advantage Plus Plan. It's at 25%. As you notice, a lot of them have a lot of the same similarity and functionality and features for each plan. Where it starts to benefit you in the percentage as it increases is the amount of support that you have with either Microsoft, with Microsoft. And we're going to go over a little bit more about support later on and what the difference is for BMI versus Microsoft. So we'll go over that in our support section. So when is your enhancement due? Most of you start to see an enhancement renewal about 90 days before your physical due date to Microsoft, meaning when we really have to pay that price for Microsoft to make sure that you're current and up to date. Most of you have probably received an email from Danelle Prindivil. She's out of our Minnesota Roseville office, and she's our enhancement specialist. Danelle has a huge job to make sure that every 90 days she is sending those renewals out to all of you, all of our clients, so that you have 90 days to process and think about when you want to submit that payment to us. Lately, we have kind of changed it up a little bit, and there's two different things going on with enhancement due dates. The first one being that we actually started putting on our invoices to you something called an Interdyne BMI due date. It's a 20 days difference from the actual Microsoft due date. Now I'm sure you're all wondering, now why do we want to do this and why do we want to confuse you? Here's why. Our biggest job as your partner is to make sure that you never go lapsed. Microsoft applies penalties when a client goes into a lapsed status. Lapsed status means that we did not renew with Microsoft your enhancement package the same day that it was due with Microsoft. To help some of our clients and to make sure we never come that close to doing those penalties with you, we gave you a 20-day due date prior to your real due date. It gives us time in accounting to process that, to ensure there's no issues with delayed checks or any kind of other issues that can come up. Think of it as a 20-day cushion. So those are the two different dates you're seeing. If you would like to know your exact due date, because if it's varying for you, just shoot your account manager an email and we can verify that for you. So some other things that are going on. We kind of wanted to just bring your attention to some module changes that have happened recently. A few years ago, I think maybe about 10 years or so, we had some ISV vendors, which stands for Independent Software Vendors. Some of you have probably heard add-on companion product, third-party software. There was two of them. There was E1 Solutions, which is a company out in, I believe, Canada, and Professional Advantage. They wrote the software code for these particular modules. And they had a contract with Microsoft where we stated we will sell it on the Microsoft price list to our clients. You may have had some conversations with your account managers around collections management, Smart List Builder being one of the more popular ones, and Extender. All three of those modules have now shifted back to the original owner and each vendor respectively. So if you have any questions about those or any changes or features or functionalities within those modules, please reach out to your account manager and we can go over those with you. So why would you want to renew? Well, there's 1,000,001 reasons. I have only a few up here. However, you always get your current product and enhancements, you have access to the knowledge base, online training, and you avoid going into that lapsed status. You also have flexibility to add users, to delete things, to buy granules or modules, and so that gives you some more buying power. Some of the biggest reasons that we want you to stay current is that you have access to one of the greatest tools called Customer Source. It has a wealth of information, and we wanted to go over some of that with you. So we've asked Lorna Link, our product manager for GP, to go over exactly what Customer Source is and what the benefits are for that. So I'm going to turn it over to Lorna to go over Customer Source with you.
Okay, so Customer Source. Is everyone able to see a screen that says Information Source on the first part?
I can see it, Lorna.
What's up?
Okay, great. So I'm gonna start from Information Source, and the reason I'm going to start there is because it gives me links to many other places. When you purchased the Dynamics software, you're set up as an account in their system, and somebody from your organization was assigned as a user, and they then probably applied for a Windows Live ID, and then that Live ID was associated with your customer's account. By starting in Information Source, I've logged in as myself, and I'm associated with Interdyne BMI. And this will allow me now to see information about my company, and it's similar to what you would see when you log into Information Source or Customer Source to see what's about your company. I started at information source because I want to say that word out loud to people, because in the GP world, it's going to become more important, and in the CRM world, it's also available at this point. Basically, starting at information source, you can log in with your Windows Live ID, and then it will show you. I'm going to go ahead and hide this, I hope. It will show you a screen where if I scroll down here, we can navigate to a whole bunch of other places. There's a couple of options here where you can link to a few other applications that Microsoft has deployed out and made available to us. There's something called Rapid Start services that can help you create a new company very quickly, very rapidly with templates and an application that can feed into Dynamics GP. There's also a tool set called SureStep methodology, and we use that internally to help manage projects, come up with good discovery questions, build out project plans. You could use it too if you were trying to deploy a new product within the Dynamics GP system. What they're doing for information source is building out an online service that will help you host your documents and your project plans so it can be used collaboratively between yourself, other team members, and maybe perhaps your partner or another third party. It's available now for Dynamics AX and Dynamics CRM. The GP is just around the corner for this. So I'm going to go ahead and just scroll down here. From the information source, you can jump in and take a look at all sorts of other products and things that are going on with Dynamics GP. In the For Customers section, we can from the screen log into Customer Source, or we can go to a Join the Community. Now I've already clicked on Join Customers or Log into Customer Source, so I'm just going to go to that tab, and what this will do is it will bring me a screenshot of what Customer Source would look like to you. As Davey described, Customer Source is a tool set that you can use. You're given access to this site. You log in using your Windows Live ID, and then you can start using it. And why would I use it? Well, you use it simply and most effectively for getting e-learning training or searching knowledge base. It's one of the easiest things that you can do is take a look at things. You can also, where it says log a support incident, if you have existing support incidences, you can come in here and log a case directly with Microsoft. Certainly you can come through us and we can help you with a case, and we can also help you evaluate a case that you come to us and say, would it be better if I started my own Microsoft case, or talk to me about the benefits of doing this case with you or going through Microsoft. We'd help you evaluate which is the better bargain for your dollar. But what we can do is we're going to focus on getting trained with e-learning. When you get new employees or you get a new product or you want to do something, oftentimes you want to get some education about what's going on and how to possibly use a product. And I'm sorry, hide this control panel. Okay, sorry. E-learning is our courses that Microsoft has published out to the users, to you as end users, to us as partners, where you can look at a video clip, an online video that can talk about how do you set up Dynamics GP purchase orders. And from this, you can then open this up. It'll run a video for you. It'll have question and answers. It sometimes have some interactive hands-on for you. But you have the ability to not only just do purchase order, but we can go through the e-learning catalog. And if we take a look at this, there are 1,077 different e-learning events that you can look at. It does cover CRM and AX and SL and Dynamics and different versions. So you'll see some stuff that's for GP 2013 and some stuff that's for GP 2010. But when you think about what you can do, if you're thinking about deploying out fixed assets, you could come here and find a fixed asset e-learning module and get your arms around the basics of it. And then when you come to us to do further training, we'd be able to help you with, you've already explored the module a bit. You have some ideas of the keywords and the key concepts. And so deploying it out with us could run a little bit faster as you're pushing it out to your company. So the e-learning is available to you and a new user or anybody you give access to your customer source account. Go back to information source. Get locked into that key. There we go. So the other thing that you can get in with customer source is searching the knowledge base. So what this is a knowledge base of errors that errors, challenges, report modifications that Microsoft has stored, and we use it to go back and research challenges. Maybe they post out product flaws and tell you how to work around it. Maybe you've got a specific question on a batch status. Let's see if this comes up with anything. And you want to know how to fix it. So one of the things that happens is sometimes batches get into funky statuses with GP, and we've got to go in and release it, and we've got to figure out how we release it and what our format is. And so what Microsoft has done is you can come in here and just type in batch status posting, and it will come up with a query and look at a whole bunch of technologies that they have that tell us how to make that change. And so you can come in here and say, oh, well, my batch status is held in posting, or it's receiving, or busy, or marked. And by opening this up, being logged into customer source, you're able to find this information and figure out how to correct it. And it will walk you through step by step. It will tell you about how to do the SQL scripting and what you need to do afterwards if there's something, the preventive. Should you do a backup first, then run the SQL script, and then do you need to do a check links? But it will most certainly help you with how do I handle this? How do I get through this? We use knowledge base along with other tools to help support you when you call in with a question. We'll be able to look at these and say, we've tried these steps and this is the next one. But we use the knowledge base frequently, every day, I would say. I'll go ahead and go past this. Another thing that I love is the ability to go into the community. And from information source or from the knowledge base, you can go in and do community queries, questions. And what they are is they're basically managed user groups. So you can come in here and post a forum question. And what that will allow you to do is go in and say, gosh, how are other people doing this? We are in this industry and we're trying to accomplish this, overcome this challenge with Dynamics GP. How are other people doing it? And you will get other users and maybe even a Microsoft person put in their opinion on how you might resolve the issue. It doesn't cost you a support case with Dynamics GP because it's part of your enhancement plan. And it's a good way to do some research to really get comfortable with what you can and can't do with Dynamics GP. Sometimes the Microsoft forum will say, hey, you know what, you're better off opening a support case. But sometimes they can give you a quick answer on how to overcome your challenge. So the post a forum question will just open up another window, and you're able to type in your subject, put in your description, and go ahead and mark it to say, email me when somebody replies to the post. So that you can post it out there. It might sit there for a day, but when and if somebody responds, you'll get an option that says this is the response, and then you can respond back to them as well. It's just a nice way to handle some support issues. There are actually some very qualified, very highly skilled, very well-respected people that are not Microsoft employees that review and address questions in these forums. I'm going to just hit one more too. I'm going to go to the blogs. So when you set yourself up for customer source, another thing that is really good thing to think about trying to join is taking a look at the Microsoft Dynamics GP blogs. They are publishing information, and right now they are publishing information almost every single day, because with GP 2013 R2 being released, they're publishing information, so people are getting excited about things. And the blogs are talking about new feature sets, new training, a product that they may have acquired, a report modification that somebody submitted to them that is real interesting. They'll oftentimes have tidbits of, for example, Management Reporter, a new roll-up was released. It is a big deal because every time Management Reporter comes out with a new release, there's about 15 new features that are included in that. So if you were looking for a new feature, you could go here, find out what that new feature is. And then one other thing that we should look at is Technet. And Technet is another Microsoft space that they're also publishing information out onto this site. Right now, you'll be able to find Management Reporter. Manuals and documentation is all out on Technet. So Technet can direct you to user guides. So if you're looking for the General Ledger user guide, you can go to Technet and find it. You can find the Management Reporter documentation. You'll be able to also go from Technet to other spaces. If, for example, you also have Dynamics CRM, you can be researching information on Dynamics CRM on Technet. It's just a little more technical space. It can drop down into code and table names and field names, and get as the name implies, a little more technical than just a knowledge base where it can walk you through step by step. So hopefully what I've shown you, your benefits of paying your enhancement plan and how you can use Customer Source. Customer Source, again, can be dealing with the knowledge base, being able to research questions and answers, and maybe doing some self-support. You have the e-learning opportunity where you can get new users online to do some education training that you've paid for, it's web-based and it's in a video style. There's the forums option where you can go out and solicit others to respond to your question or your problem. And then Technet, where we can talk about a little more technical information, also get some Management Reporter documentation, and maybe go cross-platform. Maybe if you have CRM, you can go out there and also do some checking in on what's going on. So that is my spiel on Customer Source.
Thank you, Lorna.
And John, I'm sorry, I forgot who I'm supposed to turn this over to.
Lorna, if you could give me control, that would be great. This is Davey. Thank you, Lorna. That was some very good information and some supportive reasons as to why we should always keep our enhancement current. I'm going to ask Vicki Nielsen, our Vice President out of our Minnesota Roseville office, to give us a brief background on support and how we handle your support requests here at Interdyne BMI. So I'd like to turn it over to Vicki Nielsen.
Davey, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you, Vicki. And can someone validate that they're still seeing the help desk support hour slide?
No, there's nothing.
Yep, it dropped off, Vicki, when you gave, or Davey, it dropped off when you gave Vicki presentation.
Yeah, you don't need to make me presenter, just activate my voice. The screen should stay up. Thanks, Davey.
All right, John, can you switch back to that slide? Thank you.
That's fine. Yep. I'll move forward while you're bringing that back up. So good morning or good afternoon to everyone. I'm trying to get into the mode of realizing that we are working across so many different time zones right now. So I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you today. As Davey mentioned, I am a Vice President with Interdyne BMI. I'm working today out of the Roseville office, and spring has finally come to those of us in Minnesota. It took a long time to get here, but we're glad to be coming out of the long winter that we had. And one of the things that I wanted to cover today was just a little bit about BMI's support on support services, and to let you know how you can provide feedback to us on our support services should you have any questions or any feedback for us. I first of all wanted to mention with Lorna's presentation that our goal is and always has been to provide our clients with a multitude of resources for both training and support, and so that you can quickly decide as an end user which resource is the most efficient and cost-effective method when you are needing services. Sometimes that might be utilizing Microsoft's information. Sometimes that might be utilizing BMI's support services as well. And so while Lorna has talked about some of those services that are available to you through Microsoft, I'm going to focus primarily on BMI support services. And I think most of you on the call are already utilizing these services, so this might just be a refresher for you. BMI does provide support services. Those support services are billed at time and materials in quarter-hour increments at your standard rate. We have, as you've seen, I think, presented earlier today, we've extended our support hours and are now covering support lines from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Central, and we're excited to be providing that additional value to our clients. There's several ways that you can access those services. The most common, I think, are to email our support at interdynebmi.com email address. You can also call us directly at 651-746-1596, and that call will put you directly into a response group that is working across our organization to provide phone support coverage. You can find all of this information and some additional ways in which to access support on our website at www.interdynebmi.com. There you'll find the functionality to be able to start a live support call, log an issue, or you can utilize our Chat Now feature if you have some quick questions and you're not quite sure where to go for that. So take a few moments later today to check that out, and you might find some resources there that you're not aware that we've added in the last year. When you place a call or log an issue with Interdyne BMI, it goes to our support specialist team. And we now have 3 full-time and 1 part-time person on that team that their full-time role is to provide support via phone to our clients and to escalate issues for you should you need another resource. And we've also, in this past year, created a position of resource manager, and the position of resource manager has been really critical for us. That person works very closely with our project managers and our support team to make sure that we are identifying the best resource for you within the time that you need for that particular request. I'm also excited to report that with our recent acquisitions and the organic growth we've experienced over the last year, we now have 55 consultants across our organization that support Dynamics GP in one capacity or another. So we've got a really vast and very deep pool of resources to be able to provide support to you. We've also during that time expanded our NAV, AX, and our infrastructure teams. And those teams are growing very quickly. So if you have any of those, oh, and also CRM, I'm sorry, those teams have also grown. So you're finding, I'm sure, additional resources there when you do need to reach out for support. Our process is fairly simple, but it's one that serves us well. When you log an issue with that team, your issue is recorded into a CRM support case. We log the time that comes in, as much detail as we can. We log what is your expected response time, what response time do you need, and then the particular support specialist works with the resource manager and the consulting team to either resolve that in that call resolution or to escalate that to an industry or support specialist, industry or support specialist if needed. And they will then reassign that case to the consultant, and they continue to monitor those cases until they come to complete resolution. So I'm sure that many of you are already working with that team, and if you have any feedback on that process for me, I would encourage you to send me an email at feedback@interdynebmi.com. I would love to hear from you. One of the other things we've added just recently is that we are now utilizing the Citrix GoToAssist tool for remote connection, and we've already heard from many of you that that's been a good change for us. It has overcome some of the security limitations we had when trying to connect to some of our clients via remotely, and so we'll continue to utilize that tool, and please provide feedback on that as we go. I asked Thomas Root, our customer support manager, what he thought one of the most common questions was that we received from our clients regarding support. And he identified for me that one of the most common questions is, what is the difference between utilizing BMI for support services and utilizing Microsoft directly for support services? And one of the things that he has pointed out to clients over the years that seems to be very important is that yes, you certainly have access to go to Microsoft directly. In fact, some of you might have support incidences on credit in your customer source account. Make sure that you are tracking those and utilizing those. If you have those credits available to you, you might want to talk about how you can use those to minimize your costs. If you have an issue that you want to submit directly to Microsoft, that might be a good time to use those support incidences and work directly with Microsoft. And we can certainly help you to determine when is the best time to use those. But Thomas tells me that one of the things that he always tells clients is to make sure that you realize that the support instances with Microsoft are really used for break fix. Microsoft, under those support incidences, won't provide any additional training, reporting, business process reviews, or any of those additional services that BMI can provide that sometimes come along with a support request. So he pointed that out as one of the primary differences. Interdyne BMI, as a Microsoft Gold partner, purchases the highest level of support plan that is offered to MBS partners. And as part of that, we are provided the highest response time available to partners from a support perspective. We also have a dedicated partner account manager at Microsoft to help us with those escalated issues if necessary. And because of that partner agreement, we do not then pass along the costs that we incur if we need to utilize a support incident to escalate an issue on behalf of our clients to Microsoft. So that's the other thing I wanted to point out. If you're going through BMI and we need to escalate an issue with Microsoft, you will not be billed for that particular instance. You will be billed for the services that are provided to you by a BMI technical consultant, but not for the incident itself. And I think that was everything that Thomas wanted me to cover. Again, I just wanted to close by saying if you do have any feedback, any questions for me, you can send me an email at feedback@interdynebmi.com, or certainly reach out to any of your account managers. I work very closely with our account managers, and we're consistently looking for feedback from our clients. And I will toss that back to you, Davey. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vicki, for that informing data on a support desk. So now that you know that you want to stay current with your enhancement and the values that you have with your enhancement through customer source and the support that's here through Microsoft and through BMI, we want to talk about why upgrade. So as Microsoft releases new version of their software, we want to talk about why upgrade to GP 2013. The next few slides are going to be a very broad overview on upgrading your Dynamics solution. If you are really thinking about upgrade, I would encourage you to reach out to your account manager to set up some time to go over specific features in GP that you may want to see in the new version, to talk about your license transition, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to give you a big broad overview and hopefully enough to get you to start talking about upgrading. So why do we want to upgrade to GP 2013? Well, to go forward, we kind of have to look at the past. So let's look at a quick view of how Microsoft used to license their solution. We want to start off with module-based because we still have quite a few clients that are on the module-based license type. And what that meant was within those two, you had a choice of standard or professional-based license, and you kind of picked and choose what you wanted, and there was a cost associated to that, and that created a price for you, and you just went along your way with what you needed. A few years later, Microsoft came up with something called Business Ready License, BRL. It allowed Microsoft to take a few modules, about 20 or so, that they thought were really core financials for GP, and they call that to do Business Essentials. And then they took another few modules, 20 or so, and said for supply chain, manufacturing, and distribution, we want to have a set of bundles for those clients, and we call that Advanced Management. So under Business Ready License, you had Business Essential, and you had Advanced Management. And today we have GP 2013 Perpetual License. So as you can see, the definition is never ending. I can only hope Microsoft says, that's it, we won't ever change the license again, but we'll see in a few years. Some of the great new features and things that you want to know about is Microsoft, from the 2 versions, 2010 to now, provided us 149 new additions. From what we heard, there were 78,000 hours of web development on this new version, with the introduction of a web client. And I won't go over some of the features, but there are some of the more welcomed ones, so to say. If anybody missed last month's webinar on GP 2013 review of R2 and CRM, we do have that recorded. Please shoot us an email. It went over some more of the features that we are looking at today and some other things that you want to know about, and we can send you that recording. So what do you get when you upgrade to GP 2013? Well, everybody starts off with the starter pack. We look at your current system now, and we automatically map you to the starter pack. So some of the modules that you're seeing here are what you're going to get when you decide to upgrade. A nice thing about this, no additional cost for all these modules. Whatever your current module price is or your system list price, when you decide to upgrade and you're current and we request those keys, everything that you're looking at here today, you will get. Microsoft decided to do a very simple version of license. There's the starter pack, which you're looking at, and the extended pack. The extended pack kind of matches that supply chain manufacturing solution. And if you're a client that is using any of those, when you upgrade, you will get the starter pack plus the extended pack. So hopefully that helps in giving you some incentive to want to talk about upgrading. At this point in time, I have no further information for you, and we're going to turn it over to Q&A. If you have a question, we ask that you please go ahead and send it through the chat, and the panelists that are here can hopefully answer it to you now. If you'd like a further, more detailed dive into your account, ask specific questions. If you're not sure that you're in customer stores, we can help find out, get you set up so that you can provide yourself a login and get into that customer stores. With that, we thank you for your time today. We hope that the information presented was beneficial. And if anything jogged you to ask more about your account and your Dynamics investment, and I'll turn it over to questions. Thank you again. Nick, do we have any questions coming in?
Nope, doesn't look like we have any questions.
Hey, Davey, I'm seeing one.
Okay.
There's a question that came in that asked about the change between Smart List Builder now that it's been acquired back by E1.
So functionality changes, I think Lorna can handle that call. There was some additional changes to how Smart List Builder works from when Microsoft owned it to E1 taking it back and the improvements in there. Lorna, would you be able to take that question?
Oh boy, specific changes. Are you really looking for the specific changes from GP, from one version to the other, or just how is that transition handled? Because if it's just the, how is the transition of, it used to be Dynamics and now it's E1, it's Danelle, who's handling the enhancements, would be helping you make that transition to say, you own Smart List Builder, do you want to continue to own the E1, and then she would handle the transition of moving your records over to E1, and then your enhancement would be billed through E1 and Interdyne DMI. The actual enhancements, as far as Smart List Builder, when we upgrade you, we would be uninstalling the GP version, getting that, or following the upgrade instructions that E1 gives us that would upgrade your Smart List Builder objects, and then you'd be on their supported code. But did that answer the question that you really wanted to ask anyway?
I haven't seen a follow-up one, so I hope so. And if not, please.
Either that or they said, stop talking.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
fine. Talk
yeah.
all you want. We've still got 12 minutes.
yeah, if it doesn't, we can always reach out to you and go over some of the features with E1 that you would like to see.
Yeah. I can follow up with him on it too and make sure that we did answer it.
Perfect.
Anybody else have anything? All right. Well, I guess we're good. Thank you, everyone, for attending. And be sure to join us next month when we talk about Dynamics Forecaster. It's a forecasting tool that works inside GP to help you forecast budgets for next year. It allows you to send them out to your staff and then be able to get them back and then just have them automatically go back into GP. Am I saying that right, Lorna? Or am I getting myself in trouble?
No, you're saying things okay.
All right, perfect. Well, and it's really a cool tool. I think you all like it. Thank you, everybody, for joining us.